Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this special Tuesday night edition of the Burke Brigade. Today is November 7th. We are the Burke Brigade. I'm Matthew Burke.
And I'm Jennifer Burke.
And we're the Burke Brigade, brought to you by The Liberty Daily.
Your conservative alternative to the Drudge Report.
Go to thelibertydaily.com, thelibertydaily.com, your conservative alternative to the Drudge Report. Tell your friends, and they will be eternally grateful. Okay, we're going to start out with something that just came in here. But before we play it for you, it's wrapped around that today is the 100-year anniversary of communism. And one would think the Democrat Party would be celebrating today. Don't you think?
One would think, since if you look at the Communist Party USA agenda and the Democrat Party agenda, they're basically identical.
They're basically identical. Their policies are virtually identical. Their rhetoric is literally identical. There is no difference between today's Democrat Party and the Communist Party, which has led to over 100 million atrocities around the world. And we have to credit President Trump, who declared today the National Day for the Victims of Communism. This is from thestream.com. The White House statement called communism, quote, incompatible with liberty, prosperity, and the dignity of human life, end of quote. It noted that communist regimes have killed more than 100 million people. These regimes, quote, under the false pretense of liberation, systematically robbed innocent people of their God-given rights of free worship, freedom of association, and countless other rights we hold sacrosanct. Today is the day to remember those who have lost their lives or suffered under communism, the statement said, in their memory and in honor of the indomitable spirit of those who have fought courageously to spread freedom and opportunity around the world. Our nation reaffirms its steadfast resolve to shine the light of liberty for all who yearn for a brighter, freer future. So we haven't heard this kind of tough talk against communism since Ronald Reagan.
Right.
I mean, Bill Clinton, he was in bed with the communist Chinese. Him and Al Gore were taking campaign contributions from them. You had, Barack Obama for 8 years never condemned communism. Never. Not one time did he.
In fact, he yucked it up with commies.
Oh, of course. Because he is a communist. I mean, he couldn't go the communist route. He tried the fascist route. He even failed at that. So he generally sucks. Mm-hmm. Which is a good thing because he's out and we survived it. Hopefully, thank God. So President Trump, this just came in. This is one of the reasons you tune into the Burke Report this late in the evening.
The Burke Brigade, dear.
The Burke Brigade, God, it is late. We're just going to play a little bit of this. This is President Trump speaking in Korea just a few minutes ago, and he warned the North Korean commies, do not try us.
Run from it. History is filled with discarded regimes that have foolishly tested America's resolve. Anyone who doubts the strength or determination of the United States should look to our past, and you will doubt it no longer. We will not permit America or our allies to be blackmailed or attacked. We will not allow American cities to be threatened with destruction. We will not be intimidated, and we will not let the worst atrocities in history be repeated here on this ground we fought and died so hard to secure. That is why I come here to the...
So there you go. Again, tough talk to the commies. You do have to love that. Trump has his downfalls. This is one of his strengths. Speaking of atrocities, he outlined a few of these atrocities. This is a long clip. We're not going to play the whole thing, but just to give you a flavor of it. If you want to hear the rest, it's on the Politistics YouTube page.
The Korean miracle extends exactly as far as the armies of free nations advanced in 1953, 25 miles to the north. There it stops. It all comes to an end. Dead stop. The flourishing ends, and the prison state of North Korea sadly begins. Workers in North Korea labor grueling hours in unbearable conditions for almost no pay. Recently, the entire working population was ordered to work for 70 days straight, or else pay for a day of rest. Families live in homes without plumbing, and fewer than half have electricity. Parents bribe teachers in hopes of saving their sons and daughters from forced labor. More than 1 million North Koreans died of famine in the 1990s, and more continue to die of hunger today. Among children under the age of 5, nearly 30% of afflicted and are afflicted by stunted growth due to malnutrition. And yet, in 2012 and 2013, the regime spent an estimated $200 million, or almost half the money that it allocated to improve living standards for its people, to instead build even more monuments, towers, and statues to glorify its dictators.
And he goes on, but isn't this true? And honey, we've talked about this at the Burke Brigade. The little pot-bellied dictator seems like he's the only fat person in North Korea.
Right, he's the only one eating except for the dogs that he fed his uncle to.
I mean, you look at all those soldiers. They're all, these thousands he's got lined up for show. They're all thin as a rail. But yet he comes waddling out there, strutting around like a penguin, with his fat gut hanging out. I'm sure he's living the caviar lifestyle.
I mean, you would think he'd be able to afford a better hairstylist.
And one would think, but, I'm sure the talent is a little bit short there. After all, there is no competition. And, this is what you get under communism. The left talks about equality. Equality exists in communism. Everybody is equally impoverished.
Except for the leaders.
Except for the leaders. If you're in, one of the leaders in the Communist Party, you've got the nicest cars, the nicest houses, you got all the women you want. Kind
of like the Democrat Party. Nancy Pelosi speaking against income inequality while wearing a $12,000 blouse in the media, not blinking an eye. Whereas you have Mitt Romney, and Romney was wearing a $400 shirt, and they about lost their freaking minds.
Right.
Never mind the fact that, the Obamas spent their vacations, at highly expensive resorts. He had been either a community agitator or in government for his entire career.
Yep.
She had only worked as a lawyer until she was kicked out. And then she was given a job that was created for her. But somehow they could afford these $25,000 a night, $10,000 a night places. And then the Romneys spent their Thanksgiving at a soup kitchen handing out food. But they were out of touch.
But, honey, what you don't understand
they were out of touch.
Is that the Obamas did that for the little guy. Don't you know that? They did that for... They lived the lifestyles of the rich and famous.
People could live vicariously through him.
Maybe that's it. I mean, Robin Leach, eat your heart out. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about the atheist madman who went into the First Baptist Church in
Sutherland Springs,
Texas, a small little quaint town of 400. about 40 in the church, 1/10 of the city's population.
He killed over half of them.
Unfreaking real. First of all, this godless heathen, when he busted in there, before he started shooting people, he yelled out, not Allahu Akbar, but die mother effers.
Right. That's
what he yelled. But there's a new report out today. You can get this at thefederalist.com. Thefederalist.com. I'm sorry. You can get this at hotair.com under the title Survivor. Texas gunman shot crying babies point blank.
Horrible.
It's just a horrifying.
Horrible.
What kind of sick, satanic...
And the media is trying to say, oh, he had a beef with his family. No, his ex-mother-in-law wasn't even at church that day. And if he had a beef with his ex-mother-in-law, he wouldn't have shot crying babies point blank in the head. I'm sure some of them were being held. I'm sure some of them were being held by their parents. I heard the story about this one couple who only survived because they played dead. Because people who seemed like they were alive, who were twitching, who were trying to move, he'd go up and shoot them a couple more times.
And one mother was literally laying on top of her children to protect them. She died, I don't remember, one or two of the children may have survived.
And I read about one...
She gave her life, but you made a very good point there that deserves to be repeated, because the media and even the authorities are going to try to spin this away from the atheist angle.
Yep.
They're going to try to do it as a family squabble. But he didn't kill any family members.
Right. We've seen the atheist growing hatred of Christianity with their targeting of... They don't target someplace like... Liberty University that has a lot of money. They don't target a place like, Notre Dame, even though they have strayed far, far, far away from from what they're supposed to believe as Catholic Christians. They don't target a place like that has a lot of money. They don't target Catholic high schools run by Jesuit orders or some other order of priests because they have the money to fight. They target small towns. They target tiny schools that no one has ever heard of, and to try to force them to stop some of their Christian, Judeo-Christian-based practices in their attempt to just erase God and Christianity off the face of the earth. So it's no wonder this atheist, he didn't go to Lakewood Church in Houston, which has tons of off and on-duty police there. He didn't go to First Baptist in Houston, Texas, which has lots of security there. He went to a 400-person town.
Right.
Tiny little church.
Soft target.
Everyone incredibly soft target to wreak his evil in the name of Satan.
Right. And that's basically what he's doing. For someone to commit this kind of atrocity, this kind of evil, you have to have a black heart.
And you know what? I saw a friend of ours from Seattle posted a great comeback. Let me find it because I want to read it word for word. Because the left is trying to get on their high horse despite the fact that it was a former NRA instructor who brought an end to this act of evil.
Right.
Were it not for him, who knows what further damage the man would have done. The man got a phone call from his daughter who said someone is at the church in full tactical gear, shooting up the church. And so the man grabs his AR-15. He was barefoot, runs out, and put an end to it. So you could tell that the guy was startled because he didn't expect to have any opposition based upon where he was. But that didn't stop. And maybe I'm looking at the wrong person's feed.
But if he had that AR-15,
right?
If he would have just came with an ordinary pistol or handgun,
because the left always say, "Why do you need an AR-15?"
Yeah, why do you need an AR-15? Here's why, dummies. Here's why.
Yeah, so
you don't know what's going to happen.
So Piers Morgan said something to the effect of...
he's a big anti-Second Amendment rights guy,
Yes, he's a big anti-Second Amendment rights guy who doesn't even live in this country. Said something to the effect of, one victim of the Texas church massacre was 18 months old, I found it. Where was that baby's right not to be shot dead? Wake up, America. And this friend of ours said, 18 months prior, you'd have no problem killing that baby in a clinic, you miserable F.
Boom.
Which is true.
Kaboom.
Absolutely true.
Kaboom.
These leftists
They don't care about children.
They don't care about. They don't give a dang about children. They don't care. It's just another tool, and they're masters of manipulation tactics to try to strip away more of our freedoms and make us sitting ducks to be victims because they want people to be victims.
You know, and it reminded me of a scripture that is related, a biblical scripture from the New Testament, Matthew's 18:6. Now, this is in Jesus' own words, and he's talking about what would happen to someone who caused one of the little ones, one of the little children, to sin, to stumble. So imagine what the punishment is going to be for this bun of a sitch in hell. And Matthew 18:6 says, if this is the NIV, if anyone causes one of these little ones, those who believe in me, to stumble, it would be better for them to have a large millstone hung around their neck and be drowned in the depths of the ocean. So here's the thing, liberals. You may say that, you know, God's not in charge and God allowed these people to die, and what good does prayer do? But you haven't seen the whole movie. You've seen the first 10 minutes of the movie and then walked out. You don't know how it ends, and there's a lot more to this life than you are willing to realize. The thing you need to realize, lefties, you know, the godless heathens, is because those people who died are in heaven right now for eternity. They are actually in a better place. This atheist madman is now a convert. He understands there's a God. He understands very clearly there's a heaven and a hell. And he will be suffering throughout humanity. And the pain and suffering, the wailing and the gnashing of teeth that he will be experiencing is going to be much worse than even those little babies experienced.
Right. You know what? When you said there's more to this life, it brought to mind memories of a song. Stephen Curtis Chapman is one of my all-time favorite contemporary Christian singers. Beautiful voice, beautiful messages. And there's a song that he had, actually, that was called More to This Life. And I'll read you 2 parts of it, 2 verses. Well, here's the chorus. But there's more to this life than living and dying, more than this trying to make it through the day. More to this life, more than these eyes alone can see. And there's more to this life than you and me. And at the very end, here's the final stanza before the chorus. So where do we start to find every part of what makes this life complete? If we turn our eyes to Jesus, we'll find life's true beginning is there at the cross where he died. He died to bring us more to this life.
Right. And, you know, just back to this AR-15 thing for the minute, because it's the boogeyman. It's
always used to as an attack mechanism, as an attack on the Second Amendment.
Right.
But, you know, here this guy was with an AR-15 who put a stop to a man doing Satan's work on God's earth, because the left has pushed God out so far that Satan is working overtime to take control.
That's right. And the hero, Stephen Williford, he was the one Jennifer was mentioning earlier. He said, quote, if I had run out of the house, this is in an interview with Steven Crowder. If I had run out of the house with a pistol and faced a bulletproof vest and Kevlar and helmets, it might have been futile. Williford said, I ran out with an AR-15, and that's what he was shooting up the place with. So again, a good guy with an AR-15 killed a bad guy with an AR-15. And you're never going to stop the bad guys from getting weapons.
As long as you, especially as long as you continue. The left is not only now, I mean, they've moved from pushing God out. They've been successful in pushing God out, for goodness sakes. When Barack Obama spoke at, was it Georgetown or Notre Dame? I think it was Notre Dame. It was one of them. When Barack Obama spoke at either Georgetown or Notre Dame, He made them cover the name of Jesus Christ. And they did it.
Or was it that, or was it the cross? It was one or the other.
It was both. It was both. And they used the excuse, it's because of the flags we set up for the president. No, that's not what it was for.
But he's a Christian.
He made them
Keep that in
cover the
name
wink. Of Jesus Christ.
He's a Christian.
So the left has gone from pushing God out of society to actively and openly mocking, ridiculing, and attacking and suing Christians.
Right. Where's this? Where's that God-hating group? That anti-Christ group? That anti-First Amendment group called Freedom from
Religion
Foundation. Where are they now?
Yeah.
Where are they?
Yeah. They're the ones that have
because it's one of their guys. It's one of their guys that did this.
Yep.
He wasn't doing it
in the name. God.
He was doing it in the name of their God, Satan.
Satanistic filth.
Right. Okay, we're gonna shift here to this. I just can't wait. This is so good. So we know the left, the Democrat Party, for decades now, they've been surviving basically on two things: A, the race card, and B, class warfare. Once you rip off their masks and you take away the race card and class warfare, class envy, which is Marxist claptrap, there's really not anything else left. That's it. And there's a billionaire donor who's sick and tired of it. He actually appeared, this is so beautiful, on MSNBC today, talking to Stephanie Ruhle. And he said, if these guys say the word billionaire one more time, I'm out.
Say the word billionaire as in to attack billionaires.
As in how they're evil. And he said, look, I started my business from nothing. Nobody gave me anything. And we shouldn't be, as a party, punishing success. You know, we should be encouraging people to succeed.
Oh, but remember, Nancy Pelosi said Obamacare is a good thing. Now these loser people will be able to hole up in their mom's basement. I mean, granted, Apple was started in somebody's mom's garage, but that ain't happening under the environment that Barack Obama...
Yeah, but they weren't sitting around playing Atari. They were doing something. That
Barack Obama created. So yeah, she said, basically, now people won't have to worry about working. They won't have to worry about working. They can just be covered under Obamacare.
They don't want people to work. They want to give people just enough to keep them from starving so that they can manage to go to the voters' booth and vote for them. But they want to keep them dependent on Democrats, so in turn they will get votes. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, this is a totally different story. Did you see that?
Yeah, that's up on the Liberty Daily. You could talk about that in just a second. But I want to play this. This is brief. It's just a minute 22. But here is this this billionaire. His name is Stephen Klubeck. I've never heard of Mr. Klubeck, but you've got the former DNC chair Donna Brazile revealing all this deep-seated corruption within the Democrat Party, and here's this liberal billionaire donor, and he's just completely fed up. He's the chairman and CEO of Diamond Resorts, a Las Vegas timeshare company. And he's going to tell her that what the Democrat Party, it's gone so far left that it's effing wrong. And she's like, whoa! So let's listen to this beauty.
And when Democrats continue to say, down with the billionaires, we can't stand the rich, a lot of people want to be rich. So is it the right message that the Democrats are going with?
It's so effing wrong.
Whoa.
I've talked to Schumer. I've talked to Wyden. I've talked to Pelosi.
And said what?
And I said, if you use the term billionaires again, I'm done.
Why?
Because it's aspirational. I didn't start with anything. Just penalize everyone that's done well. We all want to do well.
Hey, buddy, where have you been?
Where have you been?
Why are you a Democrat?
Obama demonized the quote-unquote 1% for 8 years while Michelle was claiming her children were diplomats so the taxpayer could pay their bill to travel to exotic places.
Remember when they were going to try to actually determine, I mean, talk about North Korea. They were trying to determine, the government gets to determine how much money people make.
At a certain point.
You made enough
At a
money.
certain point. You got to think, you made enough money. Says the guy who's giving speeches at what? $400,000 or $800,000
$400,000 each.
A pop.
Yes. But that doesn't apply to him.
No,
that's other people.
That's for
but
other
yet
folks.
he gets
That's
to decide how
folks.
much is too much for other people.
Yes, for other people.
That's the way it works.
He gets to decide too that he lives behind a wall, but no one else can.
So this is just great. This Stephanie Ruhle just looked like she just swallowed a lemon talking to this guy.
Well, and we should be the party of doing well. We should be a party of business.
Dude, you're in the wrong party. I mean, the Republican Party is horrible right now, too, in so many ways. But they're not anti-business. They're not, like, regulating businesses out of...
Right, out of business.
Right. You know, they're proposing here a decline in the corporate income tax rate to 20%. And the stuff they're doing on the individual side is just stupid. But it's like, dude, that's what the Democrat Party is about. I don't know what's wrong with you. It amazes me how people can be so successful in one area of their life and then so damn dumb in others. Mm-hmm. And he's been funding these people to screw him, paying them to screw him. He's a big donor.
In leadership. And it is very, very disturbing when I hear the millionaire or billionaire word. And I told them to stop it, knock it off. Because everyone wants to do really well. And this is the world of the aspirations.
Then are you worried that the Democratic Party is going too far to the left?
Wait till you hear this.
Mm-hmm.
So much so, it drives me nuts. So much so, it would make me quit the party. And I've made it very clear, I'll cut your money off.
Boom!
And others will do the same. We've had enough.
Was that wonderful or what? I mean, that like gives me tingles. What set him off? I mean, this stuff has been going on for decades. Granted, it's gotten worse here.
Right.
Under Obama. You know, and you know, the Bernie Sanders and the Marxists, Elizabeth Warrens of the world, Keith Ellison's, Tom Perez's, etc., etc. But, dude, what caused him to get woke?
I don't know. I mean, maybe it's the Republican tax plan where the left has been going around saying, "Oh, it's
the billionaires."
It's the bill, yeah.
When it's not anything for that. They're going to actually pay more in taxes
right.
under this.
Well, the left won't be happy until billionaires, quote unquote billionaires, pay 90% of their income.
Right, but they'll make loopholes for their donors somehow.
Right.
So anyway, kudos to this guy for finally waking up, but he's about 3 decades too late. I'm afraid that that ship has sailed. I don't see. Do you see the Democrats flipping around and all of a sudden dropping class warfare?
No, because I mean they have embraced Occupy Wall Street.
Right.
Even when they were they had to have the rape-free areas.
Right.
If you're in this area, women, you don't have to worry about being raped. What the heck? You know, they embraced Black Lives Matter, who just railed against capitalism, destroyed businesses, and then were upset when those businesses refused to reopen. So I guess they could destroy them again. And then they've embraced Antifa. They embraced Antifa.
Right.
So, no. They're just going further and further to the left. They may as well align with the Communist Party USA.
They already have.
No, they may as well officially merge.
They should
They may as
make
well
it official, announce
merge.
it.
Yes.
But, you know, while he sounds at least somewhat virtuous, for a Democrat. He's competing with George Soros, who I don't know, I haven't looked up their net worth, but probably has more money than this guy does. And George Soros is going to win that battle, I'm afraid.
Right.
I mean, the party's gone too far. We played this the other day on the Burke Brigade. Elizabeth Warren telling people the way to save the Democrat Party is to turn it over to Bernie's commies. That's the way to save it.
Once again, so one of the big mouths in the Democrat Party basically saying we are commies.
Yeah. Basically. So we had it was important.
I remember the day when America tried to run commies out of the country.
Right, or shoot them.
Not elect them into office.
Virginia governor's race tonight. We had Ralph Northam, a Democrat, beat establishment Republican, a Bushy, he's ran several times. He ran for the Senate, ran for governor. Ed Gillespie. Last numbers we have here are 53.9 to 45%. So it wasn't all that close. Basically 9-point margin there. And it's not that big of a deal. I mean, Northam was expected to win.
Yeah, the left media is acting like it's this huge victory.
It's this huge referendum on Trump. No, it isn't.
No,
Trump didn't
not.
win that state.
Right.
You know, if you do it in Idaho or something, that's
Right.
that's a little different. But no, Trump didn't win that state, so you can't pin this on Trump. You can pin some things on Trump, but you cannot pin this on Trump. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that because it pretty much went as expected. The margin was bigger than what the polls anticipated. There were some polls that showed Gillespie within 2 points, and that didn't turn out to be the case. Also had a Democrat elected governor in New Jersey, which is not surprising. That's a flip for the Democrats. It's Chris Christie, but he was a rhino anyway.
He was a Democrat for all intents and, as Doug Heffernan would said, for all intensive purposes.
Right. So now we're going to talk about a little culture. We have a problem with one of the premier racial grievance industry profiteers, don't we, my dear?
Yes, we do. You know, and this shouldn't be shocking. I mean,
didn't he have a child out of wedlock already?
Yeah. Well, and
a quote unquote reverend.
Remember, he was somebody who used to work for him said that he would frequently be called in to clean up rooms that Jesse Jackson was in. He was married at the time, to get rid of any evidence that he had extramarital sexual relationships with women that were not his wife.
Isn't one of those what was her name?
Tamara? Is it Tamara Holder?
Tamara Holder?
Yes.
I mean,
that was the rumor.
I mean, Tamara, if you didn't sleep with Jesse Jackson, we apologize. Don't sue us, but that's what we've heard.
That's what we heard. I don't know if
and
it's true
if
or
you
not,
did,
but that's what we heard.
I just have to say this: you have really bad taste.
But Jesse Jackson refused to call him a reverend because I don't want to get struck by lightning. Has been accused by sexual harassment by a journalist.
Oh. And a black journalist, right?
That he grabbed her thigh and made a crude comment. Yes, it was a writer for The Root, which is a black propaganda site, who accused him of making unwanted advances and comments during a photo op following a speech he gave about the duties of black journalists.
That doesn't sound too reverend-like.
No. She said, I used to work for a very popular media company. We had a meeting that ended with a keynote speech by the living legend, Jesse Jackson. I refused to call him reverend. So, of course, the conference room was packed, wall to wall. After Jackson's riveting and inspiring speech, I'm sorry, I've heard the man speak, and he always sounds like he's halfway sleeping.
He's a bumbling idiot.
About the responsibility of black journalists, we all lined up to take a photo with him. One by one, we stepped in, shared a few words and thank yous with Jackson, snapped photos, and went back to our desks. Simple enough, right? I walked toward Jackson smiling, and he smiled back at me. His eyes scanned my entire body. All of a sudden, I felt naked in my sweater and jeans. As I walked within arm's reach of him, Jackson reached out a hand and grabbed my thigh, saying, "I like all that right here," and gave my thigh a tight squeeze.
That wasn't actually him. That was Jennifer's impersonation. I'm just saying.
I was shocked, to say the least. Even though Jackson had his hand reached out, I had no idea that he would touch me in a sexual way. You know? I mean, he's a pervert.
Yeah.
He's a perv.
He's
he
a
comes
progressive
from a long
pervert.
line of, I mean, his family obviously thinks they're above any kind of law. Look at his son. Look what his son did. He actually went to prison.
Is he out of prison yet? I think he did
I
finally
think he
get
finally
out.
got out of prison.
Yeah,
he went to prison for his
family.
misuse of campaign funds, buying expensive things for himself, after people in the poor areas that he represented donated money to his campaign. So, yeah, Jesse Jackson, what's going to come of this? I bet you Al Sharpton's going to be next. All these people are running around with Harvey Weinstein and Kevin Spacey and all the Hollywood morally depraved people. Bill Clinton and making excuses for him, and
Brad Pitt, George Clooney, all of them. So we have, speaking of race hustlers, we have a dealing of the race card from, shall we say, the bottom of the deck.
This is one of the most asinine things I've ever heard. I read this article and I said to myself, dude, are you really that dense?
Yes, he is.
Are you really so stupid?
Yes.
Are you this dumb?
Yes.
So, as we know, someone who starts a business or who buys a business is called an owner. They are an owner of that business.
Oh, so they don't own the employees?
They are an owner of that business.
They're not slave owners?
Sheldon Adelson owns, what's the gambling properties he owns in Vegas? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
But whatever those properties are, he owns the businesses. He does not own the employees. Okay? He doesn't own the employees. The Cathy family own Chick-fil-A. They do not own the employees. But this Golden State Warrior, remember, it was the Warriors who wouldn't even entertain the thought of going to the White House.
What's this guy's name?
After they won the championship. This was, I'm looking for Draymond Green, a Golden State Warrior forward. Draymond Green.
See the guy that shoots funny? He kind of shoots like a girl.
Probably. He said that owners should be referred to as chairman. This way, no one would get the impression that the owners actually own their players.
I don't think anybody got that impression except you
idiot. Maybe you should go crack a book open or look at a freaking dictionary to see what it actually means. Now, a chairman, Draymond, whatever the heck your name is, a chairman is someone that is appointed. Am I correct, honey? They're appointed
by the board of
directors to run a company.
But they don't own the team.
They don't invest their money. They don't put their livelihood on the line for the organization. So he said this after Bob McNair, owner of the Houston Texans, made the comment, he kind of butchered the inmates running the asylum. He said inmates running the prison, and oh my gosh, all hell broke loose. And NFL players were demanding a meeting with him and the commissioner and Colin Kaepernick. But seriously, dude, just keep your mouth shut, bounce the bouncy ball, run up and down the court, and put it in the freaking basket if you're going to just demonstrate such asinine ignorance.
Dude, if you're a slave, I want your salary.
Right?
I want to I've always, since I was a little boy, 8, 10 years old, I wanted to self-identify as Lou Alcindor and then Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I wanted to self-identify as 7'2", 232 with an amazing sky hook. And I would love to be a slave like him. I'm sure he makes several $1 million a year.
Right. Listen to Mark Cuban's response to him. Because he tweeted. He actually
tweeted
for Cuban.
This
Draymond
Not
Green
a fan,
tweeted,
but...
for starters, let's stop using the word owner and maybe use the word chairman. To be owned by someone just sets a bad precedent to start. It sets the wrong tone. It gives one the wrong mindset. Cuban responded by saying, people who read that message and misinterpreted it make it seem like we don't do everything possible to help our players succeed and don't care about their families and don't take care of their lives, like hopefully we do for all our employees. That's just wrong. We own equity. We don't own people. I guess it's because he went to Michigan State and didn't take any business classes. But you own equity. When you own a team, you own equity, shares of stock. That's called ownership. Tell him if he wants to take classes at Indiana's business school, I'll even pay for his classes, and we'll help him learn that stuff.
Oh my God.
Boom!
Boom! Not a fan of Cuban, but chalk one up for him there. I mean, at least he's not a communist and not a race baiter.
Right?
That's pretty dang cool. That's.
I love the dig.
I love the dig too. So, speaking of cop-hating, Castro-communist-loving creeps, Colin Kaepernick now, apparently he was invited to a meeting with the NFL commissioner to try to, which is stupid. I mean, Roger Goodell is an absolute idiot. He shouldn't be giving him the time of day. But he was invited to meet with Roger Goodell a week ago. This is according to The Blaze, theblaze.com. And Kaepernick had not even responded yet.
Kind of like when that rumor came out that he actually had been offered a contract by a team, but he turned it down. Probably because he wanted to keep up his SJW, Socialist Justice Warrior, New Black Panther, blowout kit wearing front.
You and your blowout kit.
It's a blowout kit. I'm going to find something about a blowout kit from the 70s and show it to you.
Oh my gosh, do that.
It was a thing. I didn't do it. I was too little.
We got some other breaking news tonight. It's bad. It's interesting news. In some ways, it's good news.
What is it?
In some ways,
is this breaking even to me?
No, you broke it to me. Actually,
oh, okay.
I'm just framing
You're just teeing it
for
up.
our vast listening audience. Twitter is going to 280 characters.
Oh my gosh,
Trump.
Please take away his iPhone and Android.
Or some of the stuff he tweets is good. He just needs to be a little careful. But
he needs to have someone monitor.
Good. Bashing Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. I mean, now he's got 140 extra characters. I'm all for that. Attack the right people.
Oh my gosh,
though.
what is Brian Seltzer water?
Oh my God,
gonna do?
I love Levin, how he butchers his name. Brian Stetzler. What's he call him?
It's gotten to the point I don't even know what the man's last name is.
I mean, I know he calls him something. He butchers his name, I think, on purpose, and
right.
That's why he's the great one. Okay, everybody, we're going to wrap it up here. We so much appreciate you tuning in. You have no idea how much we appreciate all of you out there in the Burke Brigade. Brought to you by The Liberty Daily.
Your conservative alternative to the Drudge Report.
Go to thelibertydaily.com. Thelibertydaily.com. That's me in my game show host voice. All right, everybody. God bless you.
God bless America. God bless Texas.